Holy shit. Leo, welcome to my podcast, man. Thank you for doing this. I truly appreciate it. For
Of
those of
course, man.
you, well, nobody, for those who listen who don't know who Leo is, Leo's like a friend of mine from elementary school. So we've known each other for at least,
Fucking 20 years, man.
yeah,
It's been a long time. Oh,
at
sorry if I'm not
least,
supposed to swear on the podcast.
I swear all the time. All the time. It happens. Yeah. So at least 20. Man, what have you been up to? I feel like you've been on like a crazy journey. I remember I woke up one day and you were in like the UK. And then I swear,
Yeah,
like the,
fuck. I'm so glad I got that traveling in. Like now that I look back, it's just like, oh, thank God I did all this as when I did it. I know
uh,
you wanted to do something over in Germany, no?
yeah, I wanted to like go to, well, that's the thing. I've never been to Europe and I've always wanted to go to Europe. And looking into it, I was like, okay, German, everybody goes to the UK. Um, everybody
It's
goes
easy.
to, yeah,
It's
because
like
it's
it's kind
easy.
of cheating because it's like no language barrier. It's very comfortable. It feels very safe.
Yeah. So I wanted to go somewhere where I had no previous language exposure that would be very difficult to adapt to, and Germany was the spot. So I figured, okay, I can do that. And then you can also still get away with speaking English there. So that was
Pretty much
exciting, but
anywhere.
it never happened, but you never know. Yeah, man. So what
Yeah.
was happening over there?
Let's see, man. So I finished teachers college, and I was just like, I have no desire to teach in Ontario or Toronto because you just know how it is, man. It's just so inflated, and like there's so much
Yeah.
seniority. And I'm like, I'm an art teacher, and I'm like, be lucky to teach music and science and biology and math, and like everything I'm not qualified to do. And then you have no choice to like move up the ladder. So it was honestly like there was like one of those career fairs at Western for this teachers college thing, and it was basically go teach abroad. So I was like, why not? It was so
Yeah.
easy, especially because like just being Canadian, like all the visa was just like expedited process, which was pretty sweet. I didn't really have like run into any issues. I didn't even do it for too long, pretty much like a school year,
Mhm.
but it was worth it. Like we used it as like a travel hub. Like uh, I had no intention of bringing home any money or making anything. It was just literally to pay like being there. So we're
Yeah.
pretty central, like in London, which is pretty sick, like in zone 2, which is like the city's like concentric circles. So like pretty like in the thick of things still, which was fun. And we did like one of those top deck kind of one of those like organized trips and stuff too. So we got to see a good chunk of Europe, like Berlin,
Okay.
for example. So if you get a chance to go, I'm sure you'll love it. It's such a crazy city. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's like literally two cities because there's this East and West Berlin, and there's still like the wall dividing most of it, except it's like torn down in most places.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun, man. Like, so how would you rate it in comparison to growing up in Toronto? Because we grew up in the same neighborhood, so whatever
Exactly.
you say, I'm gonna understand like exactly what's going on.
It's cool, and like obviously you haven't been. I don't know when's the last time you've been to the neighborhood because your side of the neighborhood is definitely changing. It's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Tons of
Um.
condos going up there.
The last time I was there was when the Raptors won the championship.
Okay, okay, so recent enough. Yeah, there's
Yeah, but
definitely
then
like
I know from the first time I moved down here, and then I went back, and every single time I would like show up in Toronto again, like I'd be downtown and be like, okay, yeah, this makes sense, rapid change, and then I'd go back to the neighborhood, I'd be like, what in the world
oh yeah,
is this?
changing everywhere. It's yeah, I mean it's getting dense. It's I mean I feel like things are changing like oddly now, but I mean I'm sure it'll boom come back at some point. But I don't know. It's different over there for sure. Like we were right in the thick of things in London, but like London is different. Like it really feels like as big as a city that it is, and like
Mhm.
huge metropolitan center. It's very flat and it's very spread out. So it feels like pretty homey. It's like almost like you're in uh like midtown, like kind of Bathurst and St. Clair kind of area with like a lot
Okay,
of old houses and like kind of like the annex. It's like feels like the annex, but like everywhere.
okay, so
And
everything's just the annex.
like nothing's too high either. Like there is a downtown core, nothing crazy skyscrapers like Toronto or anything. Doesn't feel like you're in
Yeah.
New York, but there are some sick buildings. But everything's very spread out, very dense, like a lot of townhouses and row houses. But it's so old, so it's just so cool to see. like how much they preserve, and the transit is unreal. Like literally the tube is a city underground. Like it makes the
Yeah.
TTC look absolutely pathetic, even though everyone knows the TTC is pathetic. Anyway,
See,
but
listen, man, I know you're saying this, but when you come down here and you get to experience Boston Transit, you're going to look at the TTC and you're going to say, this is the greatest thing on the face of the planet.
I'm sure, like I know we're spoiled. Like I know we are. Like London's tough to compare to, because like the
Yeah.
TTC itself is what, I don't know, maybe 100 years old. I think the tube is like one of the oldest transit systems in the world. It's just so developed.
I know
Plus, like triple the
Boston's the
size.
oldest in North America.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I think Boston's the
Is there
oldest.
trams and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, like kind of.
Streetcars?
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
streetcar situation. Um it's it sounds like London's very similar to the setup that they have going here, where it's not really a lot of skyscrapers, and a lot of the architecture here is like original colonial American architecture, and everything in the New England area is based off of UK names. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's
Except,
cool to have that here too. Like you go to the street and be like, oh, okay, Toronto basically stole all the names from here. I mean, that kind of makes sense, I guess. But like, every little area, like, you think we lived in West Kensington in London, and it's just like funny, we live like basically right by Kensington Market over here, and they actually were named after each other. Or like Kensington Market here, obviously named after
yeah,
UK.
that's so cool, man. Like I think about, you know, thinking about like that transition of coming down here, just any opportunity you have to live in a different place, and then you just get to dissect the way that your life is now, and then look back to the way your life was before, and then you only did it for a year, so you still got to take it in and be like, wow, this is a whole new perspective, and it broadens your mind a lot. Like if I had stayed living in Toronto forever, I wouldn't have opened up my mind to, different things by moving here.
100%. And like that's the best part. Like you got to see it, at least to know. Like I know I'll always come back here for home, but like, oh, to have hubs in different places would be amazing.
Yeah,
Like once you see Europe, you just kind of understand why it's everyone kind of just flocks there,
I
especially
have
after
to do
like
it, man. I have
university
to
or
do it.
something. It's worth seeing. It really is.
If
Like
even if
and
it is for like a master's program for 2 years, I have to do it, or some.
something. It's just it's easy to get over, and like even just like working and like education visas are pretty easy to get, so it's totally worth it. But
And then
it's
the
just
travel, the
it's
travel.
you don't realize how small Europe is. Like if you put Europe on a map, and like it literally fits in southern Ontario, it's crazy. But like
Yeah,
we would grab a flight for like 60 pounds, which is still pretty cheap at the time, like maybe $100-ish, and then fly to Budapest in like 45 minutes.
yeah.
Like you can't even get to Barrie, which is about an hour north of Toronto for our American listeners, in 45 minutes. Like it's just ridiculous. Or even price wise, like you can get a flight
Yeah.
to Sault Ste. Marie, which is again the type of southern Ontario for our Americans here, but it's almost like hard to justify even seeing your own country when it's so cheap to just see
Yeah.
all of Europe.
Because that's the thing. Because here, well, the crazy part is that a flight from Toronto to Vancouver is a lot more expensive than a flight from Buffalo to Seattle.
Yeah, it's just it just doesn't make
I don't know
sense here.
how
I
that
guess we're just
happens,
too spread out.
because if you're ever looking to go to like the West Coast, it's cheaper for you. Like if you live in Toronto, it's cheaper for you to, have someone drive you down to Buffalo, hop on a flight to Seattle, and they've got trains and buses that'll take you from Seattle all the way up to Vancouver. So you've
Yeah,
just
it's probably
saved.
way cheaper.
Absolutely. So nice. I went to Seattle. Really decent city. I wouldn't encourage anybody to live there. I wouldn't. It's a nice place. It's a really nice place. If you're not the type of person who likes to walk uphill all the time, like I'm a walker.
Yeah.
Don't go to Seattle. It's miserable, and it's never. I was in Seattle for 5 days, and I don't think I saw the sun.
Yeah, definitely gray over there.
I
And
heard London is London like that too. I heard that.
that's literally what I was just about to say. Like everyone thinks it's like raining all the time and whatever, but like coming from Ontario, where the weather changes every 5 minutes and goes from like snow on the ground to us playing like kicking around a soccer ball by lunchtime because it's like 15 degrees and then like -5 at night. Like, it's so, and at the end of the day, like London's so small, and like England, the UK itself, that like
Mm.
any storms and anything just like blow over so quickly too. Like you don't realize how big Toronto is until you start comparing it like land mass size.
Oh, Toronto's
So
like
we're
I was
spread out.
putting that into context with someone here, and they were like, "So how big of a city is Toronto?" And I was like, so take Boston and multiply that by 6."
At least, like it's just getting bigger. Like
And it's
Southern
yeah,
Ontario is just, there's like barely any borders anymore. Like
yeah,
it's
because
just everyone's
you
so
have the
connected.
Toronto like proper border, but now it's just kind of extending into Brampton, Mississauga, would be Ajax, Newmarket. Like all these things are just becoming so much easier to access. So it's huge. So it's Toronto's massive, and to be in that, if there's one thing that I like about being in Boston is you're not necessarily that far away from anything, right? Because like
Yeah,
I can ride my bike to work because from where I live to work is about three miles, but that's also downtown Boston. So it's not. It would be the idea of riding my bike from our neighborhood to like the annex every single day.
doable for
Yeah,
sure.
very doable.
Yeah,
And then
that's
that would
the
be, and then it would just be in the other way. You don't have to go all the way downtown to like King Street. So that's kind of so having that compact lifestyle is just it. There are benefits there, but I still, Toronto is home, so you still miss all of that. What else you been up to, man? Like it's literally been forever.
I know. I've been just meaning to do this for a while, but I'm glad. I feel like we can't even capture it in one show. There's no way. But
No, you'll
yeah, I've been
definitely
kind
get
of all
back.
over the place. I had like a serious kind of career pivot, but it actually kind of worked out in my favor. So like I went from teaching to just honestly getting really bored, and I was just like so discouraged with like Toronto's school board, and it's just there's so many politics involved. So
So you were teaching art and then other stuff as well?
so like that was my like what I did in teachers college and what I like qualified to do. So I was lucky that I have like a social science background. So I have like a dual degree in social science and visual art. So like I could teach a wide range of things technically. High school mostly is at least what I prefer, but over in the UK, the school system's not like that at all. So like over the year, I was teaching everything, like literally from like kindergarten to they still have grade 13 over there, for example. So like
Oh,
huge
really?
spread. And at the end of the day, I was a supply teacher. Like, you know, it's like I had a science class. I was like, perfect. We're watching Transformers today. So like science, mechanics, engineering. Look at this, special effects. So you know how it is. Like it's supply
Yeah.
teacher. You're not going to get much done in 45 minutes. I was
Or
mostly
you know
teaching
what I hate when
high
you get a
school.
supply teacher who wants to like teach some shit and it's just like that's not what you're here for.
Like most of the time I'd get in the room, they'd hear my accent and be like, sir, are you American? And I was like, no. I was like, and they're like, sir, where's Canada? I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is a mother country. You own us. You should know this.
The queen
And
is
like,
on our money.
yeah. I was like, look, this
This is
is your
your this
girl.
is your this is your person.
Yeah, it's funny though. Like but it was worth it. It was worth it for the experience. But because of that, I threw myself right into it. And honestly, I just came back and was just like so discouraged to do it in Toronto because there's just so
Yeah.
many politics. So I ended up taking honestly a bunch of odd jobs. Like I always did design and stuff. You always knew I did like kind of the art background. So I always
Yeah.
did that on the side. I ended up working for this like screen printer for a couple years, doing like apparel and graphic designs, like
Yeah, I
mostly the
saw
front
that. I saw that.
front of house stuff. And then eventually I like started working on the website a lot. So I ended up going one of these like tech boot camps in Toronto, which like just streamlined me into like the tech side. So I picked up some front end development, kind of paired that with the web design.
Hmm.
And then eventually I was working at a couple different agencies. And then I actually ended up working at one of these tech boot camp schools, teaching UI UX design, which is really fun. So they appreciated like the teaching background, even though it wasn't like
Yeah.
directly related, but because I had the kind of self-taught design skills and dev skills, it kind of worked out. So it was a
That's
pretty cool
super cool.
program.
Yeah. I mean,
Kind
you've
of
always been like super artsy. I'm a visual
Yeah,
like
it's just I need to be creative and like it just worked out, but like I still appreciate teaching for sure. So I'm actually
yeah,
teaching with York right now. I'm doing like a sessional with them, which is really cool. All remote. I'm on Zoom all the time, which is
nice.
pretty fun.
Yeah, no, man, I remember, art class in high school, man. I remember
The good old
all
days.
the good old days and just doing all that. Cause I remember thinking to myself, like, Leo's gonna paint something big one day.
Something. I mean, I
It's
just
gonna
kind of
happen.
transitioned to digital, but I love it. Like honestly, like I
I'm happy
picked
to
up
see
a
that
lot
you're
of.
doing something that you like, and like you from youth to now, you've never really, like, you're still doing stuff from when you were younger now. So that's super cool.
Yeah, that's kind of the best part. Like it's still creative. Like yeah, obviously, there's a lot of work involved in it too, but it doesn't feel like work to me. It's fun. Like I'm working
Yeah.
on. I love tech. I've always been like obsessed with like gaming and tech and stuff. You know me, so it was a
Yeah.
good pair with like the creative side and like you like I work on a lot of animation, which is fun. I do a lot of like front end development, so like even basic like coding, HTML, CSS stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, I'm trying to get myself back into doing a little bit more, like this is my way of getting back into that whole artsy world, like because I remember, you know, being in that grade 9 art class, and we had a blast, and just not really doing much arts wise since. And then the other day I stumbled across some artwork that I had from that time, and it was at home, and I was just like, why don't I do this anymore? Like, this was pretty good. I'm not the greatest artist ever, but like, this is still pretty fun.
It's a good
Eh,
outlet these days too.
Yeah. And I've been looking into it. I want to go get myself like a canvas and some paints. And because I have nothing, like my apartment walls are very bare.
Yeah.
Um,
All white over here too.
same thing, same thing. So I was like, okay, I got to decorate this place. So I was thinking, okay, I could just buy some artwork and stuff like that. And then it just came to me, he's like, or I can paint that shit.
We got probably not much else to do. I don't know what the situation is over there, but
Yeah, it's the same.
we're tucked away in our boxes.
Well, we're a little bit more free to do whatever the fuck we want, kind of. Like, there was like, restaurants have been after things opened back up, everything has just been open. Like, nothing has really ever. So the second wave of lockdown that you guys went into, we didn't really experience that. Everything has just been kind of open. People have been going everywhere and doing everything. So it's not gonna. I mean, I've been a very big believer that a second lockdown is not going to solve the problem.
At this point, no way.
Yeah, it's not, because it's not. It's the people. You have to. It's not the virus. It's the people. You have to adjust the way that people think somehow. So even
Yeah,
if
it's the
you,
messaging too.
yeah. So even if you lock down again, right? It's not good. It's people are just going to find a way to do what they want to do. Like, I don't. There was stories of like underground parties in London that were being broken up. They had a big one out here in Lawrence that was, I think it was like an 81 person party in the basement of like a store or some shit like that. Like, I think it was like a barber shop or something. I don't even know what it was, but it was like a regular
Yeah,
retail front, and they had like a backspace and a downstairs space, and there was like 81 people just throwing a rager down there.
and I'm sure that's happening all over the place too. I know it's
Yeah.
happening here, and like, I mean, I'm sure there's so many cases too where they're not catching it at all. Like, what are they going to do, right?
Yeah, it's so you're not going to change, like, a lockdown's not going to change anything, because it you got to change the people, not the process, and hopefully that would change everything. Um, but moving away from COVID, because I don't like talking about
The elephant in
COVID.
the room that must be addressed and buried.
I'm fucking so tired of it, man. I am absolutely so tired of COVID.
I know fatigue is real.
Yeah, man. Like, just for a while, I was just sitting down there, just doing not doing anything productive with my life. It was just like work, eat, sleep. And now I'm finally like, okay, you need to go for at least a run every now and then. You got to do something. You got to get active just to keep a certain level of sanity.
Yeah, it's a nice, I mean, just because I'm lucky enough to like, be in a decent place, like financially, living okay and stuff like that. Like in a lot of ways, it's like the kind of reset I feel like everyone needed. Like
Yeah.
take some time for yourself, get out, get some exercise.
You're for
It's
and
not
man,
important this.
the one thing that I think about is like I don't really have much family around. So like I look back at a lot of the people back home and I'm like, at least they got like, you got to, quarantine, but at least you can, hang outside, go see your brother, go see, your parents, like shit like that.
Yeah, that's kind of the hard part too, though, because like me, my family's friggin' huge. So legally, we actually can't even see each other. Like technically,
There's
like
too many people.
my sister literally sent me a message on Christmas, which
Uh-huh.
was when they like basically started like the full lockdown, and she sent me a message that said like it's crazy to think that it'd be legal for us to go smoke a joint in the park, but not legal for us to have a family Christmas dinner. Like what a year! And I was like, it's crazy to think
Oh my
like
God, dude,
the
I'm in the
times that we're
same.
in.
I was thinking about like I'm in the same boat because like I think out of all, well, at least my aunts and uncles and cousins who live in Toronto, there's about like 40 something of us, almost 50. And I was thinking like, so no barbecue this summer because that's illegal, right? Like that's like what's illegal? Gathering of 10 or more.
We're at 5 right now outside, which is insane. Like, but if you grab like 6 of your buddies and you all each have a yoga mat, it's okay. So there's loopholes and they're fine. If
Don't
technically you're
have to
just
roll it out, just have
exercising,
to have it
yeah,
with you.
just they're exercising close to each other, you're technically not a group.
Yeah. Man, that's so crazy. Have like in man, it's amazing that we're doing this too, because like we haven't spoken in, well, not necessarily, like we've chatted back and forth over the years, but I think we haven't actually seen each other physically
Oh, for a while, man.
since like York,
Maybe like shortly after, like here and there
like here
somewhere,
and
but
there.
probably a Metro in my good old days,
Yeah,
Baptist
yeah.
and Shepherd, chilling with Greg.
Yeah.
Uh,
Were you there that one time that were you there with Greg and Matt at the St. Louis at Dufferin and French that one time?
I feel like probably, because I remember being there quite a bit. Can't get enough of those wings, obviously.
It's the greatest wings on the face of the planet.
Right? Specifically that one too. Like it's different than the other St.
They're
Louis.
all
Like
different.
I'll attest to that. They are,
But yeah,
especially those
man.
like fake mashed potato fries that aren't even fries, clearly coming out of like an extruder of some sort.
Oh yeah, those like the level of crispy goldenness of those fries are unmatched. Like you can't compare them to anything else. And they always come out so hot.
Yeah.
And
I
you're
think
just
part of it is like the randomness of that specific location. It's like
yeah.
gas station, industrial unit, St. Louis with a drive-through. What? Scotiabank and like cleaners, like
Our
what?
car dealership across the street.
Yeah. And then like field across the street, like nothing else. It's just an isolated St. Louis, a little oasis on your way
Yeah.
up to York region.
Have you ever seen photos of our neighborhood like 100 years ago?
Oh yeah, pretty much all
Yeah.
farmland.
Yeah, all
Anything
farmland.
north of anything north of Shepherd. My grandmother bought on Rainer, so just south of Bathurst and Shepherd,
Hmm.
in in 47,
Hmm.
1947. And when she bought there was literally north of Shepherd was nothing, like
Hmm.
literally farmland.
Wow. And like you look at
It's
like because I've seen the photos and I've seen the photos of Wilson, of like what Wilson looked like in like 1920, 1930, 1940. And then I go and I look at it and I'm like, huh, who knew?
I know
Who
nothing.
who saw this coming? Like you imagine going up to that person. It's like, yeah, you know what? In about 60 years, this is going to be the most populated city in Canada. And it's going to be the fourth most populated city in North America. And you're not going to be able to live anywhere.
Yeah, and you're not gonna be able to afford anything at all.
And everything is, and then if you finally find something that you can afford to live in, it's going to be super small or it's going to be super far. So,
Yeah, or they're gonna like knock it down and build a condo on top.
oh my God. Like, well, all of Wilson, I don't know. I don't know if it started yet, but all of Wilson is becoming condos.
Pretty much, like quite a few are already up,
And that's something that,
and it's gonna keep going too.
yeah, you don't see that out here. Out here, they don't necessarily have that same, they do have a little bit of a boom of, you know, real estate development, but it's not at the same extent that Toronto has it, where it's just like, I see you like this old building here. Be a shame if someone tore it down and turned it into a condo.
Yeah, it's literally condos on top of condos here. Like that's the one thing that has not stopped is like construction is going strong. And like being downtown, I see it all. And there's probably like a dozen cranes that I could just see out my window right now. It's just not stopping. So I'm sure
The
in the long run they'll like be okay. But like right now, just there's
I
also
think
probably so many empty ones. It's crazy.
I think Toronto had, this was a few years ago, and I don't know where they stand on it anymore, but I think maybe like 5 years ago, Toronto had the most condo developments in all of North America. And I think it was based off of projects that were in action and projects that have been approved but haven't broken ground yet. So everything within that realm. And Toronto was number one by far. I think second was Chicago, but there was still like a good 30 projects in between.
I think I saw those figures. It was like 70 something buildings in Toronto and like 40 in Chicago or something like
Yeah,
that. Like it was
like
a big number.
it was a very big gap.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is a lot of those condos, although they are livable, but quite a few of them are not, because I've been to a few of them, and I'm just like, so how are you you know, other than moving in here, maybe you're single, maybe you have a girlfriend, maybe you're newly, you know, which congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
um Newlywed, right?
Yeah, actually a couple of years now. So
How long
yeah,
is it?
definitely
Well, it's still recent.
yeah, it's definitely still recent. It'll be like 3 years this October, which is kind of crazy. I feel like this last year has just been like hasn't moved, of course.
I'm still, yeah,
But
man.
no,
Like I
much
feel like
much
I'm still the
appreciated.
same age. I haven't done enough to feel like I've gone up a year in age
I
yet.
feel like you'll appreciate this reference. I knew you were a Dragon Ball Z fan. Like I feel like
Yes.
right now we're kind of like depending how you take it, of course, right? Like you can be positive about this. It's tough because like so many. I'm not even gonna say the elephant in the room, the word, but like it depends how you approach it. And if you approach it with, you're okay, like luckily you're still like we're both still working, which is nice. And like for
Yeah.
anyone out there who still is, like, I'm sure that's a big difference. And like I got hit pretty hard to be honest. Like I got let go. Like the place I was working for like went completely out of business in COVID, which
Yeah.
beyond the point, but like, it was okay financially. But in a lot of ways, I feel like right now is like the hyperbolic time chamber, and it's
Absolutely.
kind of up to you how you want to treat it. Like
Yeah.
just the fact that you're already saying like, no, I need to like get out for a run today. I need to, maybe I'll just like paint my own kind of artwork, like a little bit of a hobby. Like I feel like that
Yeah.
me time is
I've been,
super
yeah,
needed right
man.
now.
I've been doing all kinds of stuff. It kind of, you know, the podcast being part of it. I've been shopping for new guitars. Haven't played a guitar since I was in high school, but now I'm just like, okay, I need to start doing things. Let me go learn how to play guitar again. Let me start painting. Let me do this podcast. Just keep my mind busy, because if I'm just going to be doing work and then that's it, then everything just becomes so mundane, and I'm just trying to keep myself active. So,
Yeah, and it's not fair like treat yourself like that either. Like working from home is very different when it's like mandatory
yeah.
then right, like there has to be some understanding like from an employer perspective. And I know that for a lot of people I'm sure it's been super tough, but I know in a lot of cases there's a little bit of an understanding that like you're welcoming like the office into like your home, not
Yeah.
by choice. I mean, although I'm sure I'll stick this way for a while, and like the hybrid approach is definitely at least welcomed in my opinion, which is kind of cool. Different.
I've met business owners who have just said that this is just going to be permanent now. Like they've told all of their employees that we're just going to do this from now on. This is what because, you know, a lot of them were saying, like, I remember speaking to a guy who he has his business and one of his friends has a business, and his friend runs a financial firm in New York, in Manhattan, and they were spending $1 million a year on real estate
I'm
just to,
sure.
yeah, just to rent out a small office. And he was like, yeah, it was all just part of the show, right? Like, we're a financial firm, we're in Manhattan, we need to put on the show because, Manhattan real estate is not cheap, it's super expensive. They're probably spending $100,000 a month in rent and other
Yeah,
expenses.
easily.
So once the whole thing happened, he was just like, yeah, I'm moving everybody to home because I don't need to spend $1 million to $2 million a year on rental expenses, and my business hasn't slowed down. He's like, we're gonna find another office, we're gonna scale it back significantly, and we're not gonna have everyone in the office, we're just gonna do office time as the time for meetings. So, and a lot of people seem to be moving in that direction, but I don't mind the working from home. It's got its good days where you're just like super focused, and it's got its bad days where you're just like, I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely different, but you're right. Like it's definitely has its good days, but there's definitely going to be a shift for sure. And well, I'm sure we'll see that globally. Like it's hard to say that it'll be gone forever because it's crazy. There's
Certain industries, like my industry, I work in the financial industry, so I don't think my industry will be work from home forever. I think as soon as, because I do a lot of, like, I'm very client facing, so um but it'll be around for a while, and I can't wait to see people again. Like the other day I ran into my mailman, and I was just like, this is the greatest conversation I've had in weeks.
honestly, like even just my weekly grocery trips, like session, it's just seeing someone else and just being like, "Hi, how you're doing?" type of thing. Like it's just nice to know that because
You're doing
it's just hard. You can't even see people smile anymore, right? That's the
it's like,
tough part.
you're
You need
doing
that
good,
human
I'm
interaction.
doing good. I'm happy to see that we're having this connection right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's one thing that I've noticed. I think everybody's going to come out of this and be a little bit nicer. I think a little bit
I
more
hope so.
communicative. I hope so. Cause yeah, like even now, like I'll see my neighbor and I'll be like, hey neighbor, what's going on? We never talked before, but I don't get to talk to people. So this moment's really precious to me.
Yeah, like those. I don't know what. You're in a building, no?
No, no, I'm in a house.
Oh, lucky. Like so, like even their small like elevator conversations over here is it's like something to look forward to now. Like before I would never even like turn my head or like take my AirPods off or whatever, but now it's like you're the only new person I'm going to see this week. How you doing? What floor are you going to? Want me to push a button for you? Need some sanitizer?
Is that what is that 14th floor 14? I got that for you. No,
I'm
don't
just gonna
worry.
come for a ride. I'm gonna come up. I'm gonna go for a little ride with you. I'll
Yeah,
try.
I usually go to floor 6, but I see that you guys are going to 14, 20, and 28. So I'm just gonna chill in the elevator with all of us, tell a story,
Be a
keep
little
everybody
doorman for
entertained.
the day.
Yeah. What are they called? There's an actual term for people who work in the elevator
Yeah, it's a thing. There's a couple super old buildings here. I'm sure
that still
probably
have
even
them.
there. Yeah, where they still have them because they have to.
That's got to be a weird job during like right now. You're just in the I'm pretty sure that guy's not working, which I
No,
hope he
I'm
found
sure
something
they won't
else.
be too busy. I hope so. I mean, maybe doormans, will kind of come back. Like, have one person opening that door, like less contamination, or we're just gonna the automatic doors everywhere, retrofit every old building.
Into automatic doors. Nobody touch it.
Yes,
Dude, I was
yes.
so
Star Trek style too. They're just gonna go like straight up.
yeah. I'm a little bit of I'm a little bit of a nut when it comes to germs. So I was like super freaking out at first. Like
Yeah, everybody was. Nobody knew, right?
I was super freaking out. Like the only thing that I will say that I was prepared, because like I stockpile cleaning supplies like they're going out of business. Like I have enough Clorox in this apartment, and I'm not sharing. But I have I have enough Clorox, disinfectant spray, wipes, you name it. I've always been in the habit of when I get home from the supermarket, I always like clean things anyway. Like I'll wipe everything down regardless. Like that's just how, like if I go to the beer store or just it's not necessarily the beer store, it's just a store that sells beer.
We're getting better with that here. Tons of little like breweries and now grocery stores, obviously, for the last couple of years.
Yeah, you
But
could
I
just
feel you.
go,
I feel you.
you could just go anywhere. Like you here, not in Boston, but in a lot of states, you could just go to like the American version of Shoppers Drug Mart, which
Yeah,
is CVS, and they just sell booze there. Like, so you can get, your prescriptions, you can get a chocolate bar
a six pack.
and a six pack, like all in
I
the
think
same
that's my
place.
I think that's my favorite part about Montreal. Like that's the big difference, at least for me. Like I mean, I just feel like there's a bunch of drunks, but in a great way. Like every convenience store at every corner.
Yeah. I'm gonna get this
Uh,
gas and I'm gonna get a six pack. Like, I don't
yeah,
think that that's the place where you should be driving and getting beer because you can also get, the small shots there too. So I don't think you should sell those at the gas station. But hey,
who
whatever
are we to
floats
tell
your
you what to do, right?
yeah. Who am I to tell you how to live your life? Um, fuck, what was I saying?
We're cleaning.
Um,
So you're stockpiling. You're a
yeah,
prepper, which is great.
yes,
I'm not in that boat. I should be.
I am, but that's just me. Like I'm a nut. Like I am absolutely a nut when it comes to that stuff. Like I will, yeah, I know why I said the beer store. Because like I'll go and I'll buy a 12 pack, all cans, right? And then before I put the cans in the fridge, I'll wash each individual can. Like I
Yeah,
have to do
rightfully
that.
so. You're gonna drink from it.
Yeah, I
I
have
mean,
to do that.
even if I'm super lazy, I'll always like wipe or wash the top, like,
Yeah.
or pour it right into a glass, like do both.
Anything that is outside of this home that comes into this home gets a wipe down, like 100%.
Including yourself, as soon as you walk in, take a quick,
As well,
quick stripper shower.
I got sanitizer at the front door just to like sanitize my hands real quick, and then I go to the bathroom and then I wash my hands. It's so weird. Like,
I'll do the same thing, literally. Like it's just like I feel like I just need to do it as soon as I get in. So it's like I can't untie my shoelaces until these are clean. I guess I don't know. They scared us,
they
washing
scared
hands.
us into
That's
being
it.
cleaner people. But you know what though? You know what I found is that I generally will catch like a cold once or twice a year. This year, nothing.
Me too. And that's the craziest part. Like I feel like I know it's coming. I know I'm gonna convince myself that it's something else, but I know it's not. But like I have not been even like a sniffle in the last like since March. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy, but that being said, like I feel great. Like I've been trying to be like extra cautious with that stuff, and like because
Yeah.
we're not really like doing anything spontaneous except for some like
COVID
Uber
turned
Eats
us
thing.
all into maniacs.
And I feel like for a lot of people, it was the first time they were like, cooking some home cooked meals. Like I wasn't the type of person to like eat lunch out too often, but like
Yeah.
of course I did. Like I'm walking to work, I'm always gonna grab a coffee. I'll like eat that. I go for like a spontaneous drink with like a colleague or student or
Yeah.
something after work. And like it happens. Like I feel like probably cut any excess calories right out because I have nothing better to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think um the working for I don't know for how many people, but just the working from home for me, I definitely lost weight and like got into slightly better shape because I just wasn't eating trash all the time.
I noticed that as well. Like
Like
it's tough, but at first it was kind of like I needed to like
I'm a
I had
sucker
my
for a
late
baconator, man.
yeah, I had my lazy days for sure. Like, and there's so much variety right now to Uber Eats. Like, how could you not?
Oh my
Like,
God. Oh my God. Uber Eats is like it's gonna be the death of me, man. I go too hard on some Uber Eats sometimes. Like one day I did it 3 times in the day. And I was just like, I really hope that the same person doesn't show up again.
in the same
um,
order, still waiting outside because you passed out on the couch. I've done that a couple times.
it's just like, hey man, so it's me again. I see you've now gone to a different restaurant.
I see you're getting two dinners I guess the first pizza wasn't enough.
Yeah, man. It's been yeah. So what else is anything else new? What else is going on, man?
Yeah, I
What else?
mean, let's put the obvious aside because who wants to talk about that? But I mean, I'm catching up on a lot of stuff, which is awesome. Playing a lot of
Yeah.
games, which is great. I had a whole Ring
Uh,
Fit Adventure stint, like a lot of people, over on the Switch, which was pretty fun.
I've
But
been a I've been like I've been a solid member of the Call of Duty Warzone.
I started, and I hate to use this word, but that's kind of what I just refer to it. I started the pandy, the good old pandemic, with a lot of Warzone with my brother. But I got so frustrated, man. It just
The
it
pandy. I love that, and
the
that's now a
pandy.
thing. It's just the
Actually,
pandy
maybe that's
now.
the title of the episode. Like I hate to say it, but it's that damn pandy, you know? It's like something to blame it on. But
Yeah, no.
I started the pandy with a lot of Warzone, and I had some great times, honestly. Like, you know, especially
You
playing with like a
win,
couple
it's
of
just
people
so
you
great.
know, and it's fun. Like, and I'm a big like jump right into a vehicle and just drive the whole time and run people over is like really my thing. I'm definitely the stunt man for sure in that regard. But it's just that game also frustrates me
It
so
is.
much that like so many rage quits to the point where and not even for the game itself, but even for the amount of space it takes up in my damn hard drive, I was like, I can't justify you anymore. Like
I think it's
240 gigs of you is not worth it. You're pissing me off. I had to put another hard drive in my PS4, like just to play other games because my whole hard drive was full of just Warzone.
yeah. I should actually well, I do have a pro, so I still have like a decent amount of space. But I know that I have that and I have Red Dead Redemption on there. That's also a very big game. So I
Yeah,
need to
some of the space these days is crazy. Like I'm hesitant to pick up a PS5, although obviously I really want one. But I think
I'm gonna wait.
usable.
I'm gonna wait because
I mean,
there's
I see no reason to like pick one off a scalper, or like overpay for it. They'll be lost. But
yeah,
there's not even that many games out, so I don't really feel like I'm missing out too much.
exactly. You're not all the games that you can play on PS5, you can currently play on PS4, and a lot of the games that are being made are not fully optimized for the PS5 yet, so it's not even a rush. And then they'll
Yeah,
finally come out with like a second generation PS5 that won't be white, and then it'll be perfect.
that's what I'm looking forward to because that thing is massive. Like it actually frustrates me with like I get it. I love the tech. It has a crazy CPU fan. Like they did a really good job, but it is absolutely absurd. Like it is huge. It's so unnecessary,
Yeah,
especially
I've
beside
seen
an Xbox.
yeah, have you seen it beside like I have a PlayStation Pro and I saw one beside the PlayStation Pro and I'm like, yeah, that thing is massive.
It's
Where am I gonna
huge.
where am I gonna store that like very quietly and out of
Like
the
I
way?
know for a fact it will not fit like my like TV situation. So I'm just waiting for that. Like they're gonna do it. They always do, like that
Yeah.
slim
Well,
model or whatever.
I'm gonna switch. I've been debating switching from gaming on my TV to gaming on a monitor.
Yeah, I've been on a monitor for a while and
I
it's nice.
the TV thing is just like it can get overwhelming. It's too much. I'd rather just sit back and just use a monitor and have a great time that way. Um,
Yeah,
so what else, man? Like I feel like it's like you said, like everything cannot just be covered in one episode
no
because
chance. That's why we just wing this one. Maybe we'll pick off a topic from here. We'll have a pandy episode. Unfortunately, we'll have a gaming episode.
yeah, man. I like it's
Um,
just like to
an
think.
episode on wings. We could definitely do wings. I'll Uber eat St. Louis, and you could watch me eat them. I'm sure there's great wings over there, though. Let's be
There
real.
are, but
If
there's
you're
no
in the
St.
good old
Louis
U.S.
wings.
of A.
You can Uber Eats it, maybe flash freeze it, and then FedEx it to me.
See, like that would be a great episode. Like, and then you do an
See if
unboxing of this like these freeze dry with dry ice flowing out of these wings that made a
it
48-hour trip from
or
Toronto to
or
Boston.
or I'm just gonna have to watch you eat them and be like, so which flavors? How does it taste? Give me some of the aromas that are in the room right now. What's the energy like? Are the fries crispy?
I'd
No,
hope
that's
so. Yeah.
yeah, man.
Actually, there's a
Because
couple St. Louis pretty close to here, so I feel like they'd be pretty crispy.
what you where are you located?
So right now, I'm pretty much remember the Scotiabank Theater. I'm right across the street, so right at like Richmond
Okay.
and John.
Okay. Yeah, you
Yeah, so
okay, that's
right
a cool spot.
downtown. which is super boring right now. I mean, it's amazing on a good day, obviously, but
How's
yeah, not much to
your
do.
view? Because everybody that I know that lives somewhere downtown and has been there for more than, how long have you been there?
Coming up on 2 years this summer. If we stay that long, we're trying to kind of look for something else because condo life is just kind of bogging us down in the pandy.
In the pandy. Yeah, the everybody that I know that lives downtown Toronto that was like, yeah, we bought this condo, we had a great view, and then
Gone.
3 years later it was gone. Like I
Yeah,
have a
luck.
friend who his view was um CN Tower in the distance, ACC, and then you can kind of see the Sky Dome as well. And they built a massive structure in front of them.
Yeah, you can't buy the view. Like
So
unless
yeah,
you
I
got a
think that's
lake,
gone now.
unless you got a lake view or you're like kind of far, like in Midtown or something where you're looking at like downtown or it's downhill type of thing, you can never
Yeah.
like guarantee it. But we're lucky right now. Like we basically we're only on the ninth floor, so like nothing crazy, but we're looking at the top of the Scotiabank Theater, but it's
Mhm.
coming down. I think there's already a proposal for like 2022 to start it. And that whole, if you remember that entire block where the Scotiabank Theater is coming down, they're putting a new theater in, but they're building a massive, like, like 3 towers, one residential, one commercial, a little mall called the Ryokan Mall. Huge project.
That's just, yeah. I mean, why would they? Because that's just textbook Toronto.
Exactly. And
Anything,
it's gone.
anything that has existed for a long time needs to go away and be replaced with something new. Which in the same breath is really cool because if you're from anywhere else in North America or even the world, and you're not used to your city going through rapid development and rapid change, to come here and just constantly see new innovative things, and the artwork is cool because they're not standard buildings anymore, right? They're constantly changing, they're constantly adjusting to be modern. It's really cool. But at the same time, it's, I feel as though you lose out on a lot of the things that you remember seeing when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, oh, all the time. Like even just walking down the street, it's crazy to
Like,
see how much it
do you
changes.
okay, um do you remember like going to Yorkdale and just
I
like
remember even like when the theater wasn't where it was, and like when Sears was still there and Eaton's. Like Yorkdale's been around for a long time. Yorkdale's changed a lot, man.
yeah, like like, so I just think about that, man. Like think about like late elementary, early high school, where you can just like go to Yorkdale and be able to just have $50 in in your pocket and roughly walk into any store and buy something.
Yeah, not anymore. There's an entire new wing of just like there's the Drake store, which is insane, the OVO store. There's the
Mm.
like Balenciaga. There's like there's Canada. We have the only Canada Goose store, I think, in Canada, which is actually a really cool store. But
Yeah, I've been
there's
there.
like
They
new
have one
department
here.
malls. It's huge.
They have a
Do they?
Canada Goose. Yeah, it's not as big.
Yeah.
It's not as big, and they don't have the same level of inventory, but they do have one here. But
They
yeah,
just built a huge one in Sherway. You know Sherway Mall?
yeah.
They built the first Canada Goose store that doesn't sell any products. It's just an experience. So I'm not kidding. They literally have like the 4 or 5 jackets that they sell, like the main, I guess the new line only, like the
Mhm.
2021 lines, and the entire store is one giant like LED screen, and it just makes you feel like you're in the Arctic, and there's like cool wind. It's like obviously it's all closed now, but it opened in like January, and then I guess closed pretty much right away.
So it's just like it's just an experience store.
It's
It's
just
just
like a live brochure. It's like this is what it feels like to be cold, and here's a jacket you could be wearing, but you're not. Canada Goose. They're just gonna get rid of like the Canada part, just like Goose. Wear
It's
us.
coming. It's
Yeah.
coming. Yeah, man. Like I remember, dude, I remember like stories about fights breaking out at Yorkdale. I remember stories about people
Yeah,
getting stabbed at Yorkdale. I
yeah.
don't think there's ever been a shooting at Yorkdale,
No, there definitely has. I'm sure
but
at
there's
some
definitely
point
been a
over in
few
that subway
stabbings.
section. Oh yeah, and that subway tunnel.
There's been a few
Quite a few
stabbings.
over
There's
there.
been quite a few fights. And then you look at Yorkdale now, and if you told anybody who is like in high school now, it's like, yeah, man, people used to get stabbed in this mall. They'd be like, get that out of here. Like, yeah. Yeah, people use I know someone that got stabbed right here. Like there was a fight right here.
It's actually kind of crazy. It definitely is the most high end mall
Oh yeah.
in Toronto and
I
in Canada, arguably. I don't
probably
even know.
yeah, probably. It went from a mall where you would just take your family to because like it was like Yorkdale Mall was, August rolls around, so school is in September, so we're gonna go to Yorkdale, and I'm gonna go get some clothes from
Yeah, we're going to Grand and
Sears.
Toy, and
Yeah,
then we're going to the Gap.
yeah, we're going to the Gap, we're going to Sears, we're going to Grand and Toy to get you all your books and your calculators and all that stuff. We're gonna go to the Foot Locker to get you a couple pairs of shoes for a year. Foot Locker's still there. Sears to get you some clothes, right?
Yeah,
All that
at
stuff,
best, from the
right?
children's section. We're like,
Right.
Mom, I'm 12. I need men's pants. I hit my growth spurt already. Yeah, it's
and
crazy
it
how much
was,
it's changed.
yeah, it's just like you'd go in and you wouldn't even really feel like you were breaking the bank. I feel like if you had to take a child to do back to school shopping at Yorkdale Mall right now, you oh my god,
I don't even know where you'd start. It's
like,
like
oh,
nothing left.
right, you'd go in there and your child would be like, let's start at the OVO store, and then let's
Yeah.
work our way through Balenciaga, and then maybe we can stop off at Prada, and like,
Yeah. We'll go to
whose
the
child
Bose store. I need noise canceling headphones for my Zoom class. Like
yeah,
$600 later. And then
it's like,
it's
whose
great. Oh,
child
I
do
need
you
a
think you
MacBook
are?
from the Apple store. You're walking out of there with $5,000 later.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy that it went from like going to Sears and going to like Rand and Toy to grab some like notebooks, and now you can literally like go to the Tesla store, buy a car, and then buy a $17,000 purse at any one of the number of
like any
like
store
every single fashion outlet. Like Holt Renfrew has literally taken over like an entire
half
wing.
of
It's
them. Yeah,
insane.
like I remember where the only nice places in Yorkdale Mall was Harry Rosen and Holt Renfrew. Like those were the only two places to get nice things in Yorkdale Mall. Now Yorkdale Mall is just nice things. Like you can go to Yorkdale, you could buy a $20,000 pen at Mont Blanc. You could definitely do that. Uh,
Easily.
you could anytime you can go to a mall and buy a Tesla, and across from the Tesla is the Microsoft store and the Apple store. It's like,
And a Restoration Hardware. That's their newest end. And you can go buy a
yeah,
$40,000 couch if you want.
I
It's
didn't even
huge.
know
It's
about
literally
that.
it's it it's like 4 stories itself with a restaurant on the rooftop.
Oh yeah, I've seen
It's
that thing.
massive.
I've seen
Right
that
by
thing.
like their
I've
whole new
never gone
section.
in. I've never
Yeah,
gone in.
it's intimidating. Like they literally serve you an espresso while you're browsing for furniture, and you need a membership. You can't just walk in there.
Oh,
Pretty
what?
intense. Yeah. So
Oh, so I
there's
can't.
like you can browse certain areas, but you need a membership to buy anything. It's insane.
I'm sure you also need a membership to like go to other floors. It's like, oh, you're not a member here, so you can't see this furniture.
Oh,
Avert your eyes, please.
please help yourself to the tap water. The natural spring water is for the members.
The Evian is for the members only. Sorry, sir. Tap water for you.
Have
I
some good old Nestle.
I thought that was just like a weird restaurant that was just way too big. And I was just like, what is this? What is the point of this? I did not know it was like this hardware restoration place that sells crazy furniture.
Huge stuff too. Like really, honestly, I browsed like at least the part of it was allowed to see on the first floor, and it's pretty cool stuff. But I'm talking like minimum like you're not walking out there spending less than like $12,000 on a couch, which I'm sure will last you forever. But like, yeah, not cheap. No IKEA, no DIY, no furniture assembly
That's the type of
required.
place where you get like ivory, you know, baby fountains like with
Yeah,
wings, and you go put that in your front yard and it just shoots water, and you're just like, where'd you find one of this? Oh, Yorkdale Mall. It's like,
it's where you
really?
buy like coasters for your coasters. Like just
Yeah, we don't like
excess.
like we don't like to let the coasters get wet, so we bought a second layer of coaster just to man, and once again, like I think back to that mall, and once there's a lot of kids that just they don't know this, right? There's a lot of kids that don't know this, that this was not the mall. Like if you wanted something nice, like if you were really going to do nice shopping, you probably went to Eaton Center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which has changed, but I don't want to say for the better. Like it's gotten bigger, they've expanded and stuff, but Yorkdale is just they have the space and they're doing even
Yeah.
more. Like there's a huge project if you give it a Google, it's called Yorkdale Village. They want to take out the entire parking lot and fill it with condos, low-rise condos, and make an entire underground parking lot for like the actual like shoppers and stuff like that. It's a huge development, and once that happens, like I could only imagine like all Yorkdale has left is to go up. If they add an entire like second story, like it's getting insane.
So they're going to it's just Yorkdale's just going to become its own little self-contained hub.
Community, literally. I wouldn't be surprised if they start like putting schools around it. Like kids are gonna be born in Yorkdale.
Where are you from? I'm from Yorkdale. Kind of born there, grew up there, did everything there. When I finally
Good.
left, my eyes were opened as to what the world can be.
It's great. They're filling up. They're literally starting. They're already starting projects. Like they're starting to fill up the kind of this. I guess the south side of Yorkdale, like closer to in between like Yorkdale and Lawrence West, with a
Mhm.
ton of new condos. And there's
I've seen some of that, yeah.
like the areas are skyrocketing in prices. I mean, there's always an expensive area, but like it's you're living by
It's
York. Everything you can need is there. I'm surprised there's no grocery store in there yet, but I'm sure that's coming.
it's coming. It's coming. 100%. 100% it's
And
coming.
I'm sure it'll be like a Pusateri's or something, one of our
Yeah.
highest end ones.
It's not gonna exactly. It's gonna be one of those places where a block of cheese is like $30.
Yeah,
And it was like
easily.
handcrafted. Like it's literally Parmesan cheese that was handcrafted in Italy, and some like old Italian lady brought it over to fucking Canada in her suitcase and then put it on the shelf. Like,
Flew back.
and then
I'll be
flew.
back with the next week's order.
Yeah, like that's what happened. Oh, you know what? One of the funniest things that I wanted to bring up, because I have been saying this to a lot of people, but you're the first Italian person that I've had on this podcast. Wait,
That could be another episode too.
which I wanted to say this. Boston has a large Italian population, but
I've heard actually.
it is nothing like the environment we grew up in.
I feel like that's the case in like a lot of the states because like I have a lot of cousins in Jersey, like stereotypical like the type like Jersey Shore Italians, honestly, and like the ones they make fun of on Family Guy and
Yeah,
the and again, I hate to say this because like I am 100% Canadian, but I feel like at least here they kind of identify like I'm Italian Canadian, or in the states they're like I'm American Italian type of
yeah.
thing. So it's
It's
a little
super
it's
different.
different. It's different for
It's
sure.
super different. You ever like, mind you, I remember zero Italian from when we were growing up. Like I feel as though if I started taking classes again, I'd probably pick it back up, but I remember nothing of it. But at least I can say that for a large chunk of my life, I learned Italian.
It's kind of crazy that we did. Like, schools are doing that less and less, but to have
Oh,
eight
really?
years of Italian class, yeah, like, I mean, it depends on the area. Like, if you go a little bit more south, like around like Dufferin and Lawrence area, they learn Portuguese at a lot of schools.
Oh,
And
nice.
even in Markham, they're learning Mandarin, which is kind of cool. So it's regional for sure, but I feel like it's kind of dying because I mean, how much our area's changed. Like,
Yeah.
you should definitely be learning like Tagalog and not Italian. Like
Yeah, not
it's
anymore.
like Bathurst and Wilson is literally Little Manila. Like
Yeah, that's that
the
they're
food scene has changed there so much
they're
too. So
trying to
like
get the
it's really
branding
cool.
now. They're trying to get
Yeah,
like the little signs and stuff that say Little Manila. But it
and it
was
should be.
funny because like when I met Italian people here, and I was like, okay, let's see what this is like because I grew up around Italians. Like I grew up in a very Italian neighborhood, and I was just so shocked to see that it is nothing like anything that you could imagine in Toronto. It is Canadian, like Toronto Italians are so much different from American Italians because a lot of first things first, a lot of the younger Italian people who are from here, who are in our age bracket, have had zero exposure to the language.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like I'm not one to talk because I mean I can understand it, but and I'm again like the youngest. My sisters are like fluent and stuff, but
Oh,
I
really?
could carry a conversation for sure. I can like get by. Like I lived in Rome for a couple of months and I was like totally fine. But I see what you mean because like it's I feel like maybe at least here, and I feel like this is the case with even like a lot of Montreal Italians, like they hold on to the culture a little bit more. Whereas in
Mm,
the States, depending where we're from, it's a little bit more like assimilated
yeah,
and
it's like we're from here, and like
exactly.
we assimilate to here.
And
Yeah,
at
it's
most, it's just like pasta on a Sunday, as Italian as they may get, which is fair. But like you know me, like I'm making sauce in my driveway.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I that's if you grew up in our neighborhood, it's very standard to see, as the summer comes to a close to see everybody making their sauce. There was a house on my street that I grew up on where the one family used to just like make sauce and they just hand it out to everybody on the street.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
lots of
the
that, and they probably have like stockpiles for years. They've been preparing. They've been preparing for this forever.
they're ready for the pandy. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like that cantina door swung open, and we're like, we're like Maria, we're good. We're
we're
we've been
good.
preparing for this since 1968. Like, look at all these jarred everything. Like we're fine.
Yeah, we used to have one family on the street that actually made their own wine.
Yeah, that's a still. I mean, I feel like a lot of families still do less and less, but it's still a thing for sure.
I
Like a
haven't
lot of
been
people still
exposed
grow
to that yet.
grapes.
I'm sure it's here. Oh fuck, it just started to like really come down with the snow. Fucking hell. Stupid snow. But it's less and less. Now I don't want to disrespect any Boston Italians who are listening to this and like, what are you talking about? We're super Italian. And like, you probably are. I just never met you. I'm talking about the
That's the
ones that
case.
I've
We'd love
met.
to have you on the show for a comparison podcast.
Yeah. It's
Canadian
it's
versus Italian
Canadian Italian
versus
versus
American.
American
Yeah,
Italian. Who's more Italian? Yeah, man.
I
It's
feel
something
like I
you
feel
go.
like the American might claim they are more, but I feel like it would really come down to like like food and like
Mhm.
how many cousins you can name, like how far back you go. Like
All right.
no, this is my fourth cousin. Like my family is like huge, and like there's a big tradition in my family that the firstborn of the
Mhm.
family was always named after the grandmother. So I have, for example, about 11 cousins, all named Giovanni Lorenza, with no middle name differentiation at all. And the
What?
funniest part is that like a lot of them grew up because like my grandparents were like very stereotypical. Like grew up in like Little Italy, and like obviously they started going a little bit more north, um, just for more space and things like that. But like, there's they just they didn't really know any better. Like it was like the tradition, just name it after like the parents. So like I have like not even kidding, like 10 John Lorenza cousins or like Giovanni Lorenza, but they go by John. And like my mom, there's about 8 Rosa Lorenzas, and all
Really?
named after her grandmother, and they're all just kind of scattered throughout southern Ontario.
Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, we don't in my family, it's a little bit more of a tradition to have the grandfather. I think it's like the tradition to have like your grandfather names you, but there isn't really a lot of repetition. That's what I've heard. I've heard a bunch of things. I don't know. My family's also quite large, and I don't know how it all works.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely died off for like the next generation, but I guess
It's like, you know how
again,
many
my
How many Italians I know that like have like 17 Joes in their family?
Yeah, so many.
It's like, oh yeah, this is my Uncle Joe. It's like, bro, your name is Joe. Like, how did this
I have
happen?
at least 5 cousins that are Marcos, and like various like what they go by Mark or Marcos, and like it gets confusing. We have to like start using first initials and stuff like that.
Everybody's got to have some sort of like different. You got to call everybody something different, or like Rob. Rob's a crazy one. I know like so many. That's got to be confusing. But yeah, man, I'm looking to. I'm actually. That's one of the things that like hopefully before the pandemic is over, I get back into, which is languages as well. I want to get back to learning the Italian and learning the French and using
Yeah,
them.
I mean, I know you're a lot better with the French, but I feel sometimes I honestly feel ashamed that we don't know enough, and like, or I didn't take it seriously. Like, I obviously took it as
Yeah.
much as I needed to,
I
but like,
mean, with
I
me
wish I
with the
kept up
French,
with it.
it's yeah. I hear it a lot, so I'm used to being in that environment. But yeah, I got to get back to it because I think like think about it this way: if you and I took our French and Italian seriously, we'd be at this point in our lives and fluent in both Italian and French.
Basically, especially French, like because you could take that a little bit further,
Yeah,
like
there's
just in
only
regular like school outlets. Like we totally could have took French in university if we went that far.
yeah. Italian is more useful in Italy, Switzerland, and Belgium, and then that's the main countries I think that speak it out. Like, but even in
Yeah, and like a couple African countries, but yeah, French, you're gold
yeah,
in
you
a
can
lot
speak
more places.
yeah. Italian's a very very small community of people who speak that language. French is everywhere. Like you could even go to
Half
certain
of Africa.
pockets. Yeah, you go to Africa, you can go to South America and speak French. It's there.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah, no, that's point. Good point.
We are
Yeah, I
coming
wish we
up on
kept
like
up
an
with it.
hour and a half. I was trying to keep this to like an hour, but we'll have to do it again to get a few other things out. It was great doing it. I'd love to have you back so we can deep dive into more of that web design and,
Yeah,
and
I'd love
coding.
to. I can definitely even like share some stuff if I do a screen share or something. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
absolutely.
It's already been. I didn't realize it's been over an hour, but yeah, I'm down to catch up whenever. But it's fun. No, I like this. It's nice to just hear you're doing well, which is great.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Nice
And
to
and
kind
you,
of compare situations as well too, because it's nice
yeah,
to like just see what everyone's kind of going through.
yeah. To think about like all the people that we grew up with, and then what everyone's doing now, and how everyone's doing now, and just hoping that everyone's, you would believe that everyone's on an upward trajectory, and you just hope that the pandemic didn't stall any of that for anyone, and even if it did stall them for a little bit, that they were able to get back on their feet and keep it moving. So it's good to know that people out there are still doing okay.
Yeah, no, that's the tough part about like now. It's gonna be like everyone's kind of in the same boat, but also everyone's like check up on each other a little bit. I'm super
Yeah.
excited to start seeing people in general, obviously, but I know it's gonna take a bit. Comfort levels are gonna be thing. It's like reintegrate into society.
I was talking to someone. I'm like, can you imagine the first time we just all get to take off masks and be face to face with people again? It's gonna be fucking weird.
For sure. Like I'm so excited to like just give someone a high five.
Oh my god.
Like
I feel as though even after the pandemic, I'm gonna still wear a mask for a while.
I feel
Like
like a lot of people will too, and
I'm
like
gonna be one of
that's
those
the hard
people.
part. Like you can't really police it either in the sense that it's everyone's right to. It's going to take like at least half a decade for this to really fizzle out. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, the mental trauma and scarring that this has on our psyche. Absolutely. I don't plan on like on flights and public transit, I plan on wearing a mask.
I think rightfully so. I feel like in a lot of places it'll still be a thing, like for closed
Yeah.
spaces like that, especially
For
flights.
yeah, for flights, because flights are just recycled air, and public transit during rush hour, you're just breathing on people.
Well, you know what the TTC is. Like, I can imagine like those crazy days where you're like sardined at like Museum Station, you can't even get up the stairs. Like, that can't happen anymore.
Yeah. Like everybody's sardine together, you're breathing on each other. Like it's just you're taking in all kinds of intrusive odors into your senses. It'd be nice to have a mask on, but I don't think like maybe not at concerts and stuff like that, but definitely flights and public transit. I'm keeping the mask, and I don't know. It's
Ain't
gonna
nothing
be a
wrong with
while.
that.
It's gonna be a while. Like even now, I know. I don't. Have you gone to a restaurant during the pandemic?
That we couldn't for months. Like we had patios barely open in the summer.
Mhm.
So like I think went like one patio honestly, and just like a lot of Uber Eats and like grabbing a takeout and eating in the park, but nothing. Like we couldn't
Yeah,
even really go.
I've just been so. I've been so freaked out. Like I know people who are still going to restaurants and stuff, and like I can't mentally bring myself to do it because it just freaks me out. I can't do it. I can't be in this environment. I've worked in too many restaurants to know exactly how easily bacteria can spread in this environment.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember
uh,
your Boston pizza days.
yeah, like I just can't. I can't do this. I can't work. I can't eat here. Not saying anything bad about restaurants or anything like that, but I know how easily like bacteria can spread in a food environment, and it all only takes one person to just ruin it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly the same, like in the same situation with teaching. Like the course I'm teaching now at York is turned into a remote course and it's staying that way. But I could imagine like being in a classroom and again, like I teach adults, so like big range. Like some of my oldest students are like in their 60s, for example.
Yeah,
Like I couldn't imagine what that looks like being in a little like some of the small classrooms even at York, like some of the little ones in like Very Hall for like a tutorial or something where it's only like 8 people in a pretty small room. Like, is that going to
yeah.
happen anytime soon? Who
Well, think
knows?
about those 300 person lectures. That
That too, right? That's
like I think I remember like some of those gen ed classes where you show up into the classroom, there's like 300, 400 people in here.
yeah, those huge ones in like some in Very and some of those other halls. But like, are you ever going to be able to like? How many times did we go to a class in York with like takeout from York Lanes and like eat it in class because you had like a 4 hour lecture? Like, can you
Yeah,
still do that anymore? Is that
right?
frowned upon? Like, I really want to eat this sub, but I have to. Can I take off my mask? Can I just like one bite at a time?
Can I?
Can I still drink a coffee, or like, do I have to sip it through a
Yeah,
straw?
yeah. Like, what's gonna happen now? I'm so. It's a good question. I think it'll
Food
redefine
courts.
how.
What about food courts?
Oh my god. Oh
What
my
about the
god.
path? Like, I know that's a whole nother episode, and I'll let you go. But like
We
the
could do this
path
for a
over
while.
here, yeah, like the underground, like it's sad. And like I just been living downtown for like almost 4 years now, and I just like mastered the path, like because you can get anywhere if you know it well. Like I
Yeah,
can
you
get
don't
from
like
basically
you
where I
don't
am all the way to Union Underground, which is awesome. Like
you don't need to have you don't really need to have a thick jacket. If you live and work downtown, you don't need a thick jacket.
amazing.
You could just navigate yourself at the path.
Yeah, like I'd only be exposed for like maybe like 4 minutes of like my walk, and
Yeah.
I'm right like one set of stairs, and you can spider web almost all the way back to like Yorkville if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
The path goes real far.
It's yeah, how are we gonna come from this, man? Like if you if like I just thought
Damn
about like if
handy.
you're like at the like if you're a single guy and you go up to a girl and you're like, let me buy you, I bought you this shot. It's like, fuck drugs. Is there corona on this?
Honestly, did you touch that?
Touch
Is
that
this
with
like
your hand?
everything's gonna come like sealed, like bubble tea style, like everything, like
Did you breathe on
literally
this?
a coffee. Everything's just gonna be factory sealed.
I muted my mic for that. So it looked like I sneezed, but nobody heard it.
I cut out for a second.
No, I just muted my mic. Yeah, man, I can't wait to see post coronavirus how we I guess sneeze again. God damn. Yeah, this is
I'm
horrible.
hoping for the best. I really am, but I know it's going to take a while, and it's going to be different levels
Yeah.
of like stages of reopening, like
Of grief, man. Like
and
everyone's we're gonna need some serious counseling
yeah,
globally.
I feel really bad for like we're lucky that we can remember a time of like even before cell phones, realistically, like smartphones at
Dude,
least,
we
like
remember a time before internet. When we were
yeah,
kids, there
pretty
was
much at
no
least like
internet in your house.
widespread. So like I can't even imagine these kids these days like running up to go play with another kid at the park, and they like don't know how to interact because they only have seen screens. Like this is maybe we'll end off with this last note on the pandy, but my niece, she's 5, and she was playing school in the basement, and she set up her teddy bears like in a little like grid
Yeah.
on the floor, and she was like playing on a thing. And I'm not even kidding, she put headphones on them and
Uh-huh.
like earmuffs on a couple of them, and she's like, okay, 2 plus 2, like, okay, bear, mute your mic, unmute your mic. And as cute as that is, it's kind of scary, like it, like to look back on that, be like, ooh, that's school for her right now. Like that she's
Yeah.
had more of that than regular school. Like she's only in grade 1,
Yeah.
so JK was kind of just playtime. So like school to her is that,
Yeah.
right?
That's just all she knows. Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Even
crazy
those like
that like,
transitional years, like those kids in grade 8 or those kids in grade 12, kids in
yeah,
first year university starting remote, like
that's crazy. She's like, and I can't, and you got to think to her, like, because when she gets at that young age, when she has the opportunity to actually see kids face to face again, it's going to be weird. It's going to be super weird for her because probably, does she have siblings?
luckily, yeah. So like
Yeah.
that, there's some normalcy at home for
So
sure. But
she'll probably be in that position where like the only time she's allowed to get close to other kids is if it's like siblings or family. And the first time that she meets like another regular child, she's just gonna be like, "Whoa, stay away, 6 feet, man."
yeah,
Oh, it's
honestly,
okay.
it's like
It's like, are you sure? Because we
ingrained.
just did this thing for about a year and a half where I couldn't get close to any other child.
I don't know if you've seen that video went around. I think it was like a TikTok of like this little baby who's maybe like a year and a half, like just started walking, and she thinks everything is a sanitizer dispenser. So she like goes up to like the branch of a tree, and she's like seeing if it's or like going up to like a random like pipe on the side of the street, and she puts her hand under and just like goes like this because she thinks everything is sanitized.
Yeah, this is a weird time. This is a weird time. We're really conditioning a lot of kids to do things very strangely in this time. You never know. It might be good for us.
In the long run, like
It might be good
the
for us. We might have,
cleanliness and
yeah, we might
that
have just
that's not a bad
conditioned,
thing.
yeah, we might have just conditioned a lot of children to become a little bit more hygienic, right? Because I remember when it started, they were like, what you need to do to protect yourself from the coronavirus. Cover your mouth when you sneeze. Wash your hands.
Yeah.
Do this. It's
Don't
like, are we not
don't
doing?
touch your face.
Like, don't touch your face. Are we all doing this? Why are we all doing this? Why does someone need to? I can understand if you're young. If I can understand if you're young, but why do we need to tell adults this? Wash your
Yeah, it's
hands
like,
when
is
you
this
use the
news to
bathroom.
anyone? Are you not doing this?
Is it? Was it only me? Shit. This is weird now. Anyway,
It'll be an adjustment for
we've been
sure.
doing this for a while. It's probably been about an hour and a half because we started just
Yeah,
after.
no, we'll catch up whenever. We maybe pivot off something in this episode as a
Absolutely. I
topic and
really
take it
want to
from
do
there.
a deep dive into web design because I am
That's
very
my
interested in it.
jam. I would love to. I can talk your ear off about that, and tons
I'm
of
right. I'm ready
resources
to
I can even
listen
share.
because I'm ready to take in some new information always. Like,
Yeah, it's good to know.
so let me know. Anyway, Leo, thank you so much for doing this. As you know, you're always welcome back. So whenever you're ready to do something, let me know. We'll make it happen.
Of course, I'll be back. Yeah, enjoyed this one, and we'll catch up again. But yeah, it was fun. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me. Whoever
absolutely.
listens, yeah, stay tuned for
Oh yeah,
next because I'm
I
sure
gotta
there'll be something else.
like and subscribe.
Yeah. Push the button in the corner.
It might be
Somewhere.
here. I think it's gonna be here. Right
It
in
usually
this
shows up
area.
around that vicinity. And then like you got to do one of these to point at like sponsored by, and then like the ad
Oh,
shows
I'm
up.
not
Maybe Uber
sponsored yet.
Eats. We
I'm not
talked about
sponsored.
Uber Eats a lot,
Yeah,
so
they got
let's
a
like
lot of free publicity today. And this
let's give them a little
Heineken light
shout
that
out.
I've been drinking this whole time.
I've seen those; they look good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good light beer. Not saying, they're not sponsoring this, but if they were, I'd still say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like,
another episode in itself right there. We could talk about the beer scene. I know Boston has a serious craft scene, and
it's
obviously Toronto's
serious.
Toronto's
It's
getting there. It
it's
really
up and
is.
coming, but it's serious here. All right, man. Thank you for coming through because if we keep on talking, we're just going to go for another hour and I'm trying to keep these short.
Exactly. All right, man. We'll talk
All
soon.
right.
Edit what you need to cut out of this all the blabber in here.
All right, perfect.